Hello again and welcome to another Mordian Glory Warhammer 40k video. In today's episode we're going to be doing a quick tip tactica where we come up with some cool combo or tactic that you can use as another tool in your guard toolbox. Now these days it seems taken as read that Death Corps of Krieg are the best infantry choice in the guard, and I'm not going to deny they are very good. But I've been trying out some of the other battle line choices in the Emperor's True Finest, and I've been pleasantly surprised by what I've discovered. And recently I did a battle report with my Tyranids going against Nick and his Cadians, and if you've not seen that, I'll make sure there's a link to that video at the end of this one. In that battle, I was really impressed by what Nick was able to achieve with his Cadian blobs. So much so that it inspired me to make this video. And so what I want to do today is take you through step by step a new unit combination which I like to call the Cadian Tactical Blob, or CTB for short. If used correctly, the CTB can and will take and hold objectives, as well as deal an impressive amount of damage in both shooting and, even more surprisingly, close combat. A bold statement indeed, sir, but I fully intend to back up these claims. And you know what? Let's begin by going through what you need to put together to create one of these Cadian tactical blobs. Firstly, and probably quite obviously, you're going to need some Cadians, and you want to take a big blob of 20 Cadian shock troops. You want to go for the full whack. That's going to give you strength in numbers, you can take a lot of casualties, and it'll get you more special weapons. It'll also make your order efficiency very tasty. As for the loadout for this blob, I think you want to go with the classics. Double plasma, double melter gun. There's definitely arguments to be made for grenade launchers as well. So you could also go double plasma, double grenade launcher. Either way, you want that plasma in there. It is still a great weapon for dealing with pretty much every opponent that you cross. It's got the range, it's got the volume of fire. As guard, you can increase that volume with the fact that you can use first rank fire, second rank fire on your plasma guns now. And it's got the AP and it's got the damage. It still is a great weapon for all situations. I always take the plasma. I prefer going for melter as my second one because we live in a meta of vehicles. And whilst melter guns might struggle on the strength front, they really don't worry about AP and they have the big damage. D6 damage, D6 plus 2 damage if you're getting really up close and personal, is very good at just cutting vehicles' wound values by a third or even by half if you get lucky on that dice roll. Naturally, you might as well go for the 2 Voxcasters in the unit. You'll probably be running Lord Sol Leontus in the wider army, so you might not feel much benefit from having the Voxcasters, but if Lord Solar goes down or you've not got him in your army, they're a nice backup way or secondary way of being able to get that bonus CP. Frankly, they don't cost anything and they don't compromise your damage output. It's just a basic lasgun guy gets a Voxcaster, so there's no disadvantage to doing it. It's a no-brainer. As for Sergeant, I think you want to go for the auto gun. It's convenient to just be able to roll its shots at the same time as the lasgun, and you're not going to need to worry about close combat because, as you'll see later on, we're going to have plenty of that elsewhere in the blob. Just a nice little bit of extra DACA. So to summarize all that, you're going to want to start off with 20 Cadians in one squad. You're going to have 12 guys with lasguns, 2 guys with lasguns and Voxcasters, 2 guys with melter guns, 2 guys with plasma guns, and 2 sergeants with drum-fed auto guns. So now we've got the foundation with our blob, we need to add in some leaders to take it to the next level. And the first one that we want to add in is the Cadian Command Squad. This unit is going to add 5 more models to the blob, a Cadian Commander and 4 Veteran Guardsmen. Some of the Veteran Guardsmen have fixed loadouts. For example, you have to take a guy with a lasgun and Master Vox, and you have to take a guy who has got a lasgun and Medipack. So we already know what they're going to be let's look at where we have some options. We have one Cadian veteran who comes with a las pistol and chainsword, and we can upgrade his weapons in a number of ways. We can go for some more special weapons like melter guns and plasma guns, but actually what I want to do with this guy is give him a power fist, because interestingly, little quirk of the new way that GW's done the 10th edition datasheets, there's no difference between the officer's power fist and the veteran guardsman's power fist. So he actually gets, this one guardsman gets 3 attacks with his power fist, and that's at strength 6, AP -2, 2 damage. That's really good. You can also replace his las pistol, again, the same guardsman, you can replace his las pistol with a plasma pistol, which is going to add more close range firepower. We can then do exactly the same thing, power fist and plasma pistol, on the Cadian officer. These 2 models alone are bringing 2 more plasma shots to the table and 6 power fist attacks as well. But there is one more option. You see, one of the Cadian guardsmen comes equipped with a regimental standard and a lasgun. Now, from an aesthetic, fun point of view, you always want to have that flag, because you can't let the king's colours fall. The man who loses the king's colours loses the king's friendship, sir. But from a tactical point of view, and this is a Cadian tactical blob, really, you just got a dude with a lasgun. And what you want is more firepower. So what I would do, as much as it pains me to say, and as much as I'm heaping much disgrace upon myself, I would leave the colours to one side and I would put a melter gun on this guy instead. Because what this means is you'll have the 2 plasma pistols shots from the other guardsman and the officer, which is kind of like adding an extra plasma gun into the unit. I appreciate that they don't get to fire the shots at long range, but at close range it's the same as having a rapid fire plasma gun. And you're then getting an extra melter gun. But Mordian, I hear you cry, what about battle shock? Surely having the regimental standard will be very useful, because even if you get battle shocked, your Cadian command squad and the unit they're attached to will remain at objective control 1. Well, here's the thing. If you look at the Cadian command squad's ability, Cadia stands, and I'm going to actually do a separate video on this, deep diving this, because I think it is very, very spicy. That ability says that while this unit contains a Cadian officer, you can ignore any or all modifiers to the characteristics of models in this unit and to any roll or test made for models in this unit, excluding modifiers to saving throws. Now, when you go and look at how modifiers work and how objective control and battle shock work, what happens is the battle shock reduces, it counts as a modifier, but it reduces your leadership down to, your OC I should say, down to 0. So if Cadia stands allows you to ignore all modifiers to the characteristics, then even if you're battle shocked, you get to keep your OC. Like I said, I'm going to do a deep dive on this and go through step by step, explaining how I think it works and everything. But it seems like you don't need the flag. The only reason you take the flag is so that you could be OC3. But in my experience in 10th edition, not a lot of people outside of the guard are taking objective control intensive units. It's one of the best things about the guards, one of our hidden secret powers, is that we actually have decent battle line and good objective control. We don't just have a bunch of battle line that's actually very inefficient. So long story short, I don't think you need the flag, and I think you go for the melter gun instead, and that will give you even more punch to this unit. Again, just to summarize this, because I know we're getting into a lot of detail right now, once you've got your Cadian blob of infantry, you want to add a command squad to that as a leader. Command squad is going to have an officer with a plasma pistol and a power fist. Again, you're then going to have another guardsman with a plasma pistol and a power fist. And then you're going to have one guardsman with a medipack and a lasgun, one guardsman with a master vox and a lasgun, and one guardsman with a melter gun. But hang on, we're not done yet, because we've had one leader, yes, but what about second leader? Now, I very rarely attach multiple leaders to units, but in the case of the Cadians, I think they make it work. We're going to add in a Cadian Castellan. Unlike the command squad, which comes with an officer and 4 attendants, the Cadian Castellan is just one model. I do want to head off some inevitable comments down in the comment section where people say, but you can't have 2 leaders attached to 1 unit. In the guard, on your battle line choices, which includes your Cadian shock troopers, you can have 2 leaders. And one of those leaders can be a command squad. So you can't have 2 command squads attached to 1 battle line unit. You could have, for example, a Cadian command squad and a Cadian Castellan, or you could have like a Cadian command squad and a commissar, or you could have a Castellan and a commissar. But the point is, you can add 2 leaders to 1 battle line choice, and Cadian shock troops are, of course, battle line. So with that cleared up, what is the Castellan bringing to the blob? Well, firstly, he's bringing more firepower and combat power, because you can give him a plasma pistol. Huzzah! And you can give him a power fist. Huzzah! And he gets 3 attacks with that power fist. Huzzah! I'm saying huzzah too much. Point is, it's more good shots and good combat capability. On that alone, you now have a Cadian unit, which is putting out, in 12-inch range, 7 plasma shots and 3 melter gun shots and an absolute buttload of shots from the las guns and everything. And then in combat, you've got a unit which is putting out 9 power fist attacks. That's 9 attacks at strength 6, AP-2, 2 damage. That's actually, for guard, that's a lot of combat punch. Not only that, but the Castellan has 2 really good abilities. Firstly, he is a senior officer, which means that your ranged weapons get sustained hits 1. All of that plasma and melter, all those las guns we were talking about, yep, sustained hits. So your firepower is going up even more. I didn't even think it could go up more, but it is. It keeps on rising. Line always goes up. But you also have, and I think this is maybe the best reason, you've got get back in the fight. While this model is leading a unit, you can shoot in the turn in which you fell back. So that means you can absolutely dagger the opponent and get up close and personal with them. Then if you don't want to get into combat with them because maybe they're kind of fighty, maybe they're going to do a bit of damage to you, or maybe they swarm you early, whatever the circumstances, if they start trying to tag you in combat, you can fall back and keep shooting. Or you could get into quite a brutal scenario. And this is, no holds barred. You could get up close to the enemy, shoot them in the face, charge, punch them in the face. The enemy might stick in combat with you because they might be a combat unit. You take some casualties, but thanks to the number of models you've got and the fact you've got a feel no pain in there, you're like, okay, well, I'm going to stay in combat. They stay in combat with you. They chop you up. We survive. Then it comes over to your turn, and you go, you know what? I don't think I want to stay in combat with you again. I'm going to fall back and then shoot you in the face. The only potential issue you might find with the Castellan is he can do an order. Now, that doesn't sound like a bad thing, but bear in mind that your Cadian command squad can do an order as well. So you'd have 2 orders in 1 unit. But I actually don't think this is a disadvantage. I think you can very easily turn this in your favor. Think about it. Your Cadian command squad has to take a Master Vox. You don't have a choice. Now, if you just have your Cadian command squad in this 1 unit on its own, then you get to use the officer's order on the unit he's leading, but the Master Vox is basically useless. Not doing anything, and you've just got a guy with a las gun. Great, you're not utilizing every aspect of the squad. But if you add a Cadian Castellan in there, he can use the Master Vox of the command squad. So suddenly, you are actually boosting the Cadian Castellan's capabilities, and you're taking advantage of something that you previously weren't doing. How I like to see it is you are essentially creating a pseudo mini breed command blob, because you've got a unit that can look after itself, but also a unit that can support other units. And I have found that, and what really opened my eyes to this was that Tyranid battle report, when my opponent Nick had a couple of these Cadian tactical blobs, and he was using the orders from the Castellan very effectively order units that were in the rear, like his mortars, and also ordering units on the flanks, like his sentinels. And so I think that the big thing about the Cadian Tactical Blob is not only is it doing so much for itself, not only is it bringing bodies and objective control so it can play the primary game very, very well, but it's also bringing a lot of firepower to the table, as we've seen. There's so many special weapons stacked in here. It's actually enough special weapons to make a Krieg Blob, blush. Long story short, at every single level, this unit is either improving itself or enhancing your army, and it can take part in every step and every phase of the game. But there is one last really important point, and that is, well, we've talked a lot about what's good on the tabletop, but what about real life? The vast majority of new players who are getting into the Guard are starting off with box sets like the Combat Patrol, and that contains Cadian shock troops. And in my experience, most people who get Cadian shock troops want to use them as Cadians. They don't want to use them as Death Corps Krieg or Cadians, even though they're totally fine to do so. They like the look of the Cadians and they want to use them as the shock troops. Or maybe there's someone who's read a lot of books like the Cadian's Blood series, and well, they want to collect Cadians. And they don't want to be told, oh, just go and collect Death Corps, oh, just go and get Cadians. They don't want to be told that. They want to make their models work. And I think that the Cadian Tactical Blob is a fantastic way of getting those models to perform exceptionally well on the tabletop. But of course, all of this is just like my opinion, man. Let me know what you think down in the comments section below. Have you been convinced to try out the Cadian Blob? And is there anything that you would change about this tactic? Of course, if you've enjoyed today's video, don't forget to smash that like button and also subscribe to never miss an episode. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, and they have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a big shout out to Bon Vert, Mad Larkin, Marcus Roberts, Mark Panconi, RJ Scorpion, Swordfish Trombone, John Stubbs, Nick Walsh, Diesel Fox, and August Varney. Thank you guys so much. Your incredible generosity is a massive part of how I'm able to do Mordian Glory full time, and it is a big driving force behind the channel. But I hope you all enjoyed today's video. Thank you for watching, and of course, as always, I'll see you guys next time.